Hello everyone, and welcome to my Young and the Restless official 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Sharon could barely breathe as she stumbled into the dim Newman barn, rain-soaked, trembling, her heartbeat pounding so violently she swore it echoed off the wooden beams, and Nick, standing there with confusion and rising dread tightening his features, took one look at her and knew something inside her had shattered beyond repair, and before he could even whisper her name, Sharon grabbed his hands with a desperation that chilled him to the bone and cried, "Nick, there's something you must know." Her voice broke on the last word, a raw, guttural sound filled with terror, regret, and a secret she had been terrified to speak for weeks, the secret Matt had threatened would destroy everyone she loved if she dared utter even a syllable. Sharon's tears fell so fast Nick wiped them instinctively, but she flinched at his touch, not because she didn't want him near but because she knew that speaking this truth meant her time was up, that Matt Clark, twisted, calculating, reborn under the vile alias Mitch Bacall, was closing in, and she had only seconds left to give Nick the key to everything before Matt silenced her forever. "Sharon, talk to me," Nick pleaded, voice trembling, hands cupping her face, his thumbs brushing her damp cheeks. "You're scaring me. What's going on?" Sharon exhaled a shaking breath, pressing her forehead to his as if trying to memorize the shape of him, the warmth of him, the safety he always represented even when they were broken, even when life tore them in opposite directions. "Nick," she whispered, "Matt didn't come back for revenge on you, he came back because of me." Nick's eyes widened, confusion giving way to dawning horror, but Sharon continued before he could speak. "It wasn't an accident that he targeted our family. It wasn't random. It wasn't even about what you did to him years ago. Nick, he blamed me. He blamed me for everything he lost. He said I owed him my life, that I was the one who should have died instead of him back then." Her voice cracked, her body shaking so violently Nick pulled her into his arms, whispering, "No. That's not true. None of that is true. Sharon, listen to me, whatever he told you, whatever he threatened, it's not your fault." But Sharon shook her head defiantly, pushing back just enough to look into his eyes, her own wide with a grief so deep it made Nick's stomach twist. "You don't understand," she sobbed. "He made me keep things from you. Things about Noah. Things about Summer. Things about you. Nick, everything he's done, every move he made, it's because I knew something I shouldn't have known. Something Matt did. Something I hid because I thought I was protecting the kids. But I was wrong. So wrong." Nick's breath caught as Sharon dug trembling fingers into his chest, bracing herself. "He switched the results," she whispered, and Nick stiffened. "What results?" She swallowed hard. "The DNA. The test Victor ordered years ago. Matt tampered with it, he had someone on the inside, someone who owed him. Nick, you weren't supposed to find out the truth then. He wanted you to live the rest of your life questioning everything, doubting every relationship, doubting yourself. He said destroying you wasn't enough. He wanted to unravel every part of your world." Nick staggered, shock twisting through him like a blade. "Why didn't you tell me this?" "Sharon, why? Because he threatened Faith," she cried. "He said he'd take her. That he'd make her disappear the way he claimed Cassie disappeared from him, his words, not mine. Nick, he told me if I opened my mouth, he would kill our daughter." Nick's knees nearly buckled, rage and terror exploding through him, but Sharon grabbed his face again, forcing his eyes to lock onto hers. "I'm telling you now because he's about to hurt someone else, someone innocent. Nick, it's Noah." Nick froze. Every muscle locked, breath gone. "What about Noah?" he rasped. Sharon swallowed, eyes filling again with helpless devastation. "Noah didn't just come back from London because he missed us. Matt lured him home. He manipulated him, used someone Noah trusted, someone posing as a friend. He's been using Noah as leverage against me because he said if I didn't cooperate, he'd make Noah pay the same way he made you pay." Nick shook his head violently. "No. No. No, Sharon, this is insane. Why didn't you come to me with this the second it started? Sharon cried harder. Because I thought I could fix it. I thought if I just did what he wanted, kept quiet, didn't expose him, followed his instructions, he'd leave you and the kids alone. But I realized something too late. Matt never intended to stop. He wants total destruction. He wants to burn the Newman family to ash just to watch you suffer. And now, she choked on her next breath. Now he wants me gone. Nick's chest heaved, panic choking him. Sharon, you're safe with me. We'll go to Victor. We'll go to Chance. We'll go to Adam. We'll go to anyone. I'm not letting anything happen to you. But Sharon only shook her head, the most heartbreaking smile ghosting across her trembling lips. Nick, he's already here. At that exact moment, the barn door slammed behind them with a thunderous crack, the wind extinguishing the lone lantern flame and plunging the room into near darkness. Nick spun around, pulling Sharon behind him, but Sharon grabbed his arm, whispered, no, because she knew, she felt, Matt's presence like a shadow of death pressing against her spine. Matt stepped forward, the faint glow of lightning behind him casting his silhouette like a predator in wait. He clapped slowly, mockingly. Bravo, Sharon, he drawled. You actually did it. You told him. I wasn't sure you had the guts. Nick lunged, but Sharon flung her arm across his chest, pleading, Nick, no. He'll kill you. Matt's laugh echoed like a dagger. Oh, sweetheart, I'm not here for Nick. Not yet. Nick's rage boiled over. If you touch her, what, you'll hit me again? Matt sneered. You and your father think your fists and money can rewrite history. But this? He gestured around them. This is justice. Sharon stepped in front of Nick, tears streaming, voice shaking. Matt, please. Let Nick go. Let the kids go. I did what you asked. I kept your secret. I stayed quiet. I protected everyone. You don't have to do this. Matt tilted his head, eyes gleaming with twisted pleasure. But I do. Because you see, Sharon, your silence wasn't the point. Your fear wasn't the point. The point was watching you break. Watching you drown in guilt while Nick lived in ignorance. And now? He smiled, a cold, monstrous smile. Now I finish what I started. Nick roared, lunging again, but Matt raised the gun so quickly Sharon barely had time to react. But she did. She always did when it came to protecting Nick. She shoved him backward with all her strength just as Matt pulled the trigger. The gunshot cracked like a thunderbolt splitting the sky, an echo that would haunt Nick for the rest of his life. Sharon staggered forward, eyes wide, breath stolen. For a heartbeat, Nick didn't understand, until Sharon collapsed into his arms, crimson blooming across her blouse like a tragic flower. No. Sharon. Nick screamed, catching her, cradling her as her body trembled. Stay with me. Sharon, stay with me. Please. Sharon reached up with a trembling hand, brushing Nick's cheek. I'm so sorry, she whispered, voice fading. Tell the kids I love them. Nick, forgive me. Sharon, don't you dare close your eyes. Nick cried, shaking, sobbing, begging. Look at me. Stay with me. But Sharon's gaze softened, her final breath escaping as she whispered something only Nick could hear, words that shattered him so deeply he would never recover. Her hand slipped from his cheek. Her body fell still. Nick let out a sound so raw, so broken, the storm outside seemed to hush in mourning. And Matt, unmoved, cold, triumphant, watched the life drain from Sharon without a flicker of remorse before disappearing into the night, leaving Nick clutching the woman he had loved his entire life, screaming her name as the rain poured down around them. Sharon's final confession, her truth, her terror, her love, would ignite a firestorm in Genoa City, exposing Matt's darkest schemes, tearing open long-buried secrets, and sending Nick on a path of vengeance that would forever change the Newman family. But for now, all that existed was the sound of Nick's shattered heart echoing into the storm as he held Sharon's lifeless body, whispering through sobs, "I should have protected you. I should have saved you. Sharon, come back, please come back," but she was gone. And Matt had won, or so he believed. Because Sharon's final whispered words would unleash a truth even more explosive than her death. And Nick would stop at nothing to make Matt pay. Nick couldn't feel the rain anymore, not the cold drops soaking his clothes, not the wind slicing through the cracks of the barn, not even the thunder rolling through the sky like fury unleashed, because the only thing he felt, the only thing he knew, the only thing that existed was Sharon's still body in his arms, her head limp against his chest, her blood warm on his hands as it seeped through his fingers, and the horrifying realization that he had just watched the love of his life die too. Protect him, he clung to her, rocking her as if movement could somehow pull life back into her, sobbing her name again and again, but her silence was deafening, terrorizing, permanent, and Nick, broken, wild, barely able to breathe, lifted his face and screamed for help, but the storm swallowed his voice, and Matt's footsteps were already gone, leaving behind only the echo of a gunshot and the cruelty of his triumph. When Nick finally rose, body shaking, grief choking him, he carried Sharon in his arms like he used to carry her across thresholds, only now her weight felt wrong, lifeless, heavy with the unbearable truth that she would never speak, never smile, never walk again, and as he stumbled out into the storm, headlights from a speeding SUV blinded him, Chance screeched to a halt, jumped out, and froze at the sight, Nick covered in blood, Sharon in his arms, her head slumped forward, her eyes half open. But unseeing, and Chance whispered, voice cracking, "Oh my God, no, no." The next hours blurred into chaos, EMTs rushing, their faces pale and tight, strangers whispering, sirens wailing, Nick refusing to let go of Sharon's hand in the ambulance until they physically pried him away as the paramedics confirmed what he already knew, that she was gone, sending Nick into another spiral of agony so deep that even the seasoned EMTs had to look away as he collapsed to the hospital floor, fists slamming into the tiles, screaming Sharon's name until his voice broke. When Noah and Faith arrived, both frantic, both breathless, Nick had to look his children in the eyes and tell them the unthinkable, "Your mother, she didn't make it," and the way Faith fell to her knees, wailing, the way Noah punched the wall with a roar of denial, the way they clung to each other in shaking devastation made every bone in Nick's body ache with guilt so heavy it nearly crushed him. Meanwhile, word filtered through the hospital corridors like poison, Sharon Newman is dead. Matt Clark is responsible, and within minutes, the Newman family exploded into a storm of their own, Victor demanding Matt's immediate capture, barking orders at Chance and every cop within earshot, Victoria crying silently, unable to process another loss, Abby breaking down in Devon's arms, Summer rushing to support Faith, and Adam, who stood apart, fists clenched, jaw trembling, promising with icy calm, "I'll find him, Nick. I swear to God, I'll find him." But Nick heard none of it. He sat alone in a cold hospital chair, elbows on his knees, Sharon's blood dried like a brand across his palms, staring at the floor through blurred eyes because if he blinked, he would see again the moment she shoved him, the gun firing, her body jerking, the light leaving her eyes, and guilt gnawed at him like razor wire. I should have protected her. I should have stopped him. She died because of me. Across town, Matt watched the chaos unfold on a stolen burner phone, leaning against the window of a rundown motel, smirking as GC buzz, social media feeds, and whispered texts erupted in real time. He soaked in the panic like oxygen, replaying Sharon's collapse in his mind with disturbing satisfaction, but even as he reveled in it, his eyes darkened with something colder, because Sharon's death hadn't been the endgame. No. She had been the message. Nick was the target. And the next phase was already in motion. Back at the hospital, when the coroner finally took Sharon's body, Nick refused to leave. He followed the gurney down the hallway, brushing a hand against the sheet covering her face, whispering, "I'll finish this for you. I swear I will," before collapsing again against the wall, sliding down until his knees hit the floor. Victor knelt beside him, something rare, actual grief, softening his stern features as he placed a hand on Nick's shoulder. "Son," Victor said quietly, "we will get justice." But Nick didn't want justice. He wanted vengeance. And as he stood, slow, unsteady, but fueled by a fire he hadn't felt in years, the transformation was unmistakable. Nick Newman, the calm one, the steady one, the moral compass of the family, was gone. Replaced by something sharper. Harder. Dangerous. In the chapel downstairs, Faith sat alone, clutching the necklace Sharon had given her when she turned 18, sobbing so silently it tore Chance's heart when he found her, and with a trembling voice she asked, "Why does this keep happening to us? Why do we always lose her?" Chance hugged her, guilt burning his throat because part of him believed he should have seen this coming sooner, should have anticipated Matt's next move, should have protected Sharon better, and as Faith cried into his shoulder, Chance made his own vow, "Matt Clark will pay for this with everything he has." Meanwhile Noah, rage boiling hotter than grief, stormed out of the hospital, ignoring everyone calling after him, needing air, needing space, needing something to hit because the image of Sharon lying in Nick's arms felt like a knife twisting deeper with every breath. He ended up at Crimson Lights, silent, dark, empty, and when he walked inside, everything smelled like her: coffee, cinnamon, warmth, safety, memories, and the realization that she would never unlock that door again made him choke on his tears, clutching the counter for support. It was there, amid shattered sobs, that Noah remembered something Sharon whispered to him days ago: "If something happens, check the blue tin behind the register." He had thought nothing of it then, but now, hands shaking, he grabbed a stool, reached back, pushed aside the old photo albums, and found it, a small metal tin, inside of which lay a folded letter addressed to Nick. Noah's breath caught. He collapsed onto a stool, staring at it. Sharon had known. She had prepared. She had left one last truth behind. His hands trembled as he rushed back to the hospital. Nick was still in the hallway, pacing like an animal trapped between grief and rage when Noah handed him the letter. "Dad," Noah whispered, voice breaking, "Mom left this, for you." Nick stared at the envelope with trembling hands before tearing it open, Sharon's handwriting instantly stealing the breath from his chest. "Nick," it read. "If you're reading this, then he kept his promise. I knew he would come for me. But I needed you to know the full truth." Nick swallowed hard, eyes blurring as he read, "Matt never acted alone. Someone in Genoa City helped him. Someone you trust. Someone who let him get close to our family. And that person is still watching you. Still near Faith. Still near Noah. Still near everything we built." Nick's blood ran cold. Sharon continued, "I thought staying quiet would protect everyone, but silence doesn't stop evil. You must find who helped him. You must finish what he started. Protect our children. Protect yourself. And Nick, I love you. I always have. I always will." Nick pressed the letter to his chest, breath hitching, the grief hitting him like a tidal wave again, but beneath it, beneath the pain, something else ignited: clarity. Purpose. A focus sharper than any blade. Matt wasn't the only one involved. Sharon had known a collaborator. Someone inside their circle. Someone who had proximity to the kids. Someone who enabled Matt at every turn. And as Nick stared at the letter, one name flashed through his mind so suddenly he nearly staggered: Detective Burrow. The odd behavior. The inconsistent details. The too convenient information. The way he always appeared seconds too late. The unexplained disappearances. The way Sharon had looked uneasy every time Burrow entered a room these last weeks. Nick looked up, jaw clenching, eyes blazing with the same fire Victor once feared in him. "He was helping Matt," Nick whispered, voice low and deadly. "Burrow was working with him." Back at the motel, Matt packed a duffel bag, glancing once more at the burner phone, scrolling the live updates about Sharon's death, but when a notification popped up, Detective Burrow online, Matt smirked. The plan was still moving. The trap was still set. And Nick Newman was about to walk right into it. At the ranch, Victor convened a private meeting: Adam, Victoria, Nick, Noah, Faith, Summer, Abby, Nate, all gathered around, tension so thick it felt suffocating. When Nick revealed Sharon's letter, the room exploded: gasps, denials, anger, fear. "Someone in this family circle is helping Matt?" Victoria whispered. Who? But Nick didn't hesitate. Burrow. Adam's eyes widened. You think he's dirty? I know he is, Nick snapped. Sharon knew something. That's why she was scared of him. That's why she didn't tell Chance. That's why she begged me to protect the kids. She feared him almost as much as she feared Matt. Victor slammed his fist on the table. Then we bring him in. Now. But before Chance could move, his phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. You're too late. Chance's face drained of color. It's Matt, he whispered. Another message appeared instantly. Phase 2 has begun. Across the ranch, lights flickered.